Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the negative effects of air pollution on people with asthma. So asthma is a medical condition that people have that affects the lungs, and this causes the airways to become much more narrow and more mucus buildup within the airway. And so right here we have a list of asthma inhaler treatments for the symptoms of shortness of breath that asthmatic people may have, wheezing, chest pain, tightness, dry coughs, or difficulty breathing. And so in this picture we have a normal lung and an asthmatic lung, or specifically an asthmatic person who is having an attack right now. And you can already see that there's a big difference. In the airway is much more, it has much more space in comparison to the asthmatic lung, because on this side the lining is swollen. And also there's more mucus buildup right in between the airway right here in comparison to the normal lung. And here you can see this on the far right was the picture we just saw, the asthmatic airway during an attack. And in the middle you can see like a normal asthmatic airway without any attacks. And you can see that the normal airway, it looks quite similar, except the walls here are much more inflamed and larger too. So air pollution. There's a lot of different types. It's a combination of different places from air pollution, because you can have some smog, gas emissions, greenhouses, factories. There's a lot of different places for air pollution. But in particular, we'll be talking about air pollutants. And those are air particles from this combination of them. And so the first example that many people already know of is when they're in school and you hear, oh, today's a bad air quality day. So what it means when they say a bad air quality day is that the air quality, or the particles in the air, it's much higher than it normally is. And so they cancel any events that may be happening, like basketball match. They'll cancel that, because if the students play a match during that time, if any of them have asthma, this could cause them to have a potential asthma attack. And so the correlation between air pollution and asthmatics. Well, in the study done by Ivan, Melina, and Jasmina, they wanted to know what exactly was the relationship between the air pollution and people who had asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And so they decided to have these control conditions of temperature, air pressure, and wind speed, making sure they're all around the same amount. And they tested particle matter. And particle matter is air pollutants. And there's two specific ones they looked at, which was coarse particle matter and fine particle matter. And one of the results they found was that on the days where the fine particle matter was higher, the total study population had more attacks than they would normally. And so here's an example of, these are the air particles right here, and it's going through the nasal cavity and through the mouth. And if you remember the picture from before, the airways are already pretty clogged up, small with mucus. So imagine if this was inside, it could cause them to have a potential asthma attack. And so this is just another picture of people with asthma and the fine particles, as well as the gas emissions causing them to wheeze. And so right now what's being done is they're having electric vehicles. And these electric vehicles help prevent any more gas emissions. And there's also an incentive in them, because if people buy them, they won't have to pay for any gas, because there's free charging stations for them. And so another way that people are helping with the air pollution is by using more public transportation. So this includes also using carpool to get to places, and also walking and telecommuting. So these are my references right here that I used. Thank you.